Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us on Waco's LinkedIn Live Diversity Series. I'm your host, Neeraj, and I'm the managing partner with Waco Canada in Vancouver. Joining me today are the diversity and inclusion champions from Waco North America. I will open it up to the panelists to introduce themselves. Farah, would you like to start us off?
Sure. Hello, I'm Farah Hoddle. I am the Talent Acquisition Director at Waco. I lead the internal hiring efforts here. Started here 15 years ago, took a little break, came back a little over 8 years, and honored to be part of the IDEC, the diversity inclusion effort at Waco.
Guess I'll go next. I'm Levante Kerbin. I've been here at Waco for 8 years, Senior Director out of our SF branch. Excited to be here with you all to discuss this important topic.
I'm Ina Dwyer, and I'm the Managing Director of Waco's Pursuit Enablement Center, which really focuses on strategic positioning and proposals and pitches to clients and building those relationships. I am based in Colorado.
Awesome. I'm Colette Clifton. I'm a director in the Orlando office. I focus on senior consulting, interim solutions. Started with Waco right around the same time as Levante. This year will be 8 years I've been with Waco.
Wow, I guess I'm the newbie here to Waco. I'm Neona Rich, and I'm a CPA by trade. I actually was a Waco consultant for 3 years before I joined internally as a recruiting director. I am based out of our LA office, and I've been internal for about 3 years.
Oh, thanks, Neona. Our focus today is to share the steps Waco is taking internally to draw the circle wide. And part of that initiative was the creation of Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity Committee. It could not have been put more simply than what Reverend Jesse Jackson once said. If everyone is included, everyone wins. So let's dive right into the conversation. Levante, I'll start with you. My question to you is, what prompted you and why it was important to you to join the Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity Committee here at Waco?
It's a great question. I feel like many of you feel the same way, but I just really felt it was important for me to join IDEC because representation matters. It matters that I'm one of the few Black males that have been with the company this long. I recognize that my perspective is unique. I want to use my relationships that I've built up to this point to help elevate diverse perspectives. I genuinely value the opportunity to share space with other diverse voices and to also learn from them. So I'm really hoping that this mindset becomes contagious throughout our company. I feel our company has a mantra we've used for years, one being outlaws welcome. But personally, I never really believed it up until 2020 when I saw that my impact, the impact that my voice had. I spoke up after the George Floyd incident, and it was truly embraced throughout the company. It was really inspiring to see the response within the company when I spoke up. That really gave me the momentum and added confidence to stay the course. So I really feel this IDEC committee council provides that platform.
Great. Thanks, Levante. And the lack of diversity, inclusion, and equity has been a challenge for all of us for decades. Neona, in your opinion, why is it different now, and how will efforts be different this time around?
That's also a really good question, and I thought about that as I got involved with this committee as well. And I think that the lack of diversity, inclusion, and equity has definitely been a problem for centuries, right? Since the camera was invented in the 1800s, we've been able to document and witness and have tangible evidence of the atrocities that happen across the world. I think about globalization, and, that happened decades ago. I think about 1968 when the Olympians from San Jose State peacefully protested by raising their fist on stage in front of the world so they could bring awareness to what was happening in the U.S. And I think, though, what really changed this time was that COVID slowed us down. I think that we were bored. We didn't, we were quarantined together, the entire world. We probably had all reached the end of Netflix, and we finally had the time to pay attention. And, I don't think that during this time, there was any, more atrocities than other times, but I think about the first beginning of quarantine, and in February, there was the story about Ahmaud Arbery. And then in March, there was Breonna Taylor. In May, we saw Chris Krueger in Central Park, and then of course, George Floyd also in May. And I think that we were slowed down enough to finally pay attention and hear the screams throughout the Black community and listen to each other. And I think that was probably the one good thing that came out of COVID, was it slowed us down and made us think about each other's. And I'm sorry, this is a long answer, but how will it change? How will it be different this time? I think that with us paying attention and realizing how busy we were and too busy to pay attention, I think we have recognized that and said, hey, I can't be too busy anymore to pay attention to things like this. I think also this younger generation is more connected to each other globally and sharing experiences. I think that businesses are getting involved, and that is a huge change. When businesses can stand up and recognize that they have a part to play, and they can definitely influence the economic justice and and really influence inclusion throughout the community, that's what will make the difference.
Wow. No, you bring up some very good points, Tiana. There are people who don't come from underrepresented groups, who come from non-traditional backgrounds and do want to get involved with diversity and inclusion initiatives, but just don't know how. And they're also unsure of what they can add to the conversation. Farah, I'll ask you this. What suggestion would you have for these folks?
Make sure I unmute before I get started here. That's a really important question, and I think it's super relevant right now. The first thing I would say to people who don't know where to start is, and particularly people who don't consider them, who are not of a minority group, is that your voice does matter and being present matters. So my advice would be just to start by showing up, because it's very easy to stay silent when you're afraid that you're going to say the wrong thing, or you're afraid of how you'll be judged by what you say. But I think it's about just finding the courage to show up. I think that's a great place to start, and to use your privilege. If you've got unearned privilege, use your privilege to open doors for people who don't. The other thing that I wanted to say is that, everyone we meet, we have to remember, is facing some form of oppression, large or small. And oppression really is a state of being powerless. We think about what is oppression. And whether that's from your government or your society, it could also be oppression of an oppressive mental state, an oppressive health condition. And my point with that is everyone is going through something that is really difficult for them and that they're struggling with. And so I think this is an opportunity for us to find our empathy, find our humanity, and just to be kind to one another. Because, I'm not an African-American woman. My mother is from Afghanistan. My father is Lebanese, and my sisters and I were first-generation Muslim Americans. And in spite of that, when I witnessed the murder of George Floyd on video, I felt it. And I think that we all felt it. And that, you don't have to be Black to feel that pain and that oppression. And you don't have to be Asian to feel the oppression of our Asian community. You don't have to be gay to feel the pain of our gay community. And I'll leave you with this. In Islam, we say that the humankind is like one body, and when one part of the body is hurting, the entire body is hurting. And so I guess to sum it up, my message is, have courage, it's let's stay united and let's show up for one another.
Very insightful, Farah. And again, it's never too late to get started. Yeah. Aina, you have been a diversity and inclusion champion at work and outside. Some people can view these initiatives as moving mountains. What are your thoughts around these? You're on mute, Aina.
I did it. I'm the one. I can understand that people may associate achieving optimal diversity, inclusion, and equity with the seemingly infeasible task of moving a mountain. However, I think the power of people and their united understanding, to Farah's point, and allyship and focus, it will conquer all. I mean, if we can bring together the geniuses of multiple cultures and countries to create a multinational space station, I believe we can drastically improve social injustice and perhaps achieve social justice. Also equating a D&I initiative to moving mountains may impart that we're solely focused on getting from point A to point B, or perhaps the finish line. But a D&I initiative is an infinite commitment to building and sustaining foundations so that those mountains can be forever lifted by everyone. And again, to Farah's point, I'm obviously not African American either, nor do I come from an oppressed religion or racial background. However, there's been times in my personal life, in my childhood, in which I have experienced some severe atrocities. And if I can just always keep that in the back of my mind, even though it's not a daily experience for me based on the color of my skin or the religion that I practice, but if I could just keep that experience in the back of my mind, in front of my mind, I can forever be one of those individuals that helps lift that mountain. And driving that continuous awareness around the inequities experienced by many is critical, as well as our ongoing actions to ensure everyone feels included, truly included. So equating it to a mountain, perhaps, if we're forever lifting that mountain.
Okay. Yeah, these tasks can feel unending at times, but it's always the motivation and the efforts behind it for sure. Yeah. Thanks so much, Aina. Colette, why was the formation of the IDEC Council important to you?
It was important to me because it's no fun when you walk in a room and you're the only one. And I think that for me, I recognize the importance of diverse voices, people coming together with a variety of experiences based on where they've been. I am a Caribbean American, and so I lived in Jamaica in a totally different culture. I was also fortunate to be exposed to many different cultures because much of the Jamaican economy is based on tourism. So there were always people of different cultures visiting our islands, and I was able to interact with those cultures and learn so much about the ways in which we're similar and the ways in which we're different. Yeah. And so it was important to me to be a part of IDEC at VACO because I understand very in a very significant way that when we bring diverse voices together, when we bring diverse cultures together, diverse experiences together, we're so much stronger. And it's in the diversity that we grow, that we expand, that we get out of our comfort zone, right? And stretch ourselves. And so that, in addition to wanting to leave a legacy here at VACO and beyond, what will VACO be like when I'm not here? And did I have an impact in that space? So it was very important to me to be a part of the change that was occurring, not just at VACO, but throughout the world, right? And sometimes it's so much easier to sit back and look at what other people are doing and say, oh, this is great. Oh my goodness, the civil rights movement was awesome. But it's also important to be a part of change and to know that you were able to, by utilizing your time and your gifts, make a difference. And so it was very important to me. And then I just asked myself, if not me, then who? And I think once you ask that question, then you embrace the mission and fully immerse yourself in it. And I will say one last thing is when I first got involved with IDEC, like I started off, it was about wanting to see more people of color, more diverse professionals at the company. And so I was thinking about myself feeling more people around, right, that could relate to me. But once I joined, it became so much more than that. It's no longer about me, right? And I think that a lot of times we get into the situations thinking about ourselves. And then I learned that it was so much bigger than me, and I learned so much from everybody around me. So I'm super excited to be a part of this council.
Thanks, Colette. So to Colette's point, creating a legacy and making an impact, just a quick fire round, I'll throw it to the panel. What are you hoping to accomplish this year through IDEC initiatives? I'll start with you, Farah.
Oh gosh, there's a lot. I mean, I know Ina said it depends on what we call a mountain, but it feels like a mountain sometimes. I think if I were to hone in on just one thing, there are many things that we're doing as a council. We've got several initiatives underway that we're all really excited about and proud of, and everyone has been working tirelessly to roll them out. I would say for us, it's starting to, as Jerry would put it, draw the circle wider with the talent pools, qualified and diverse talent pools, because we believe that VACO is better and will be better and stronger with more diversity. And that's huge, a huge undertaking for us, but it's something that we're hoping to make more progress in this year for sure.
Levante.
I'd like to accomplish a few things. I think from a process standpoint, to Farah's point, I would love to be to help spearhead creating more diversity here, especially more on the executive level, but also from more of just from a selfish standpoint, I'd like to learn how to be a better ally. I think being in this space, I'm able to learn from these lovely ladies and countless others that get involved in some of the things that they have brought to my attention, like today or tomorrow's Chinese New Year. We have a happy hour later on today, and I'm learning so much about other cultures and other people, things that I probably would never have learned about my coworkers and colleagues had I not taken this pledge and signed up. So I'm really embracing the change, not just coming in saying, hey, I want more stuff for African Americans. No, I'm actually taking the challenge as well and saying, hey, I want to learn more about other cultures as well, right? Farah talking about she's Muslim American, right? Just really digging in. There's this book that I read called So You Want to Talk About Race, and in it, I learned a lot about intersectionality, and it's pretty much this analytical framework for understanding how aspects of a person's social and political identities combine, right, to create different modes of discrimination and privilege. So there's so many different examples of that, whether it's gender, sex, race, class, sexuality, religion, disability, physical appearance, right? All of those different things, starting to kind of unpack some of this stuff. That way we can create just a fair work environment, right? And so that's what I'm hoping to get out of it, right? There's some specific things, but then also some more general things that I hope to get from it as well.
Great. Yeah, thanks, Levante. Colette, to you.
boy, so many things I want to get out, want us to accomplish this year. But if we, at the end of the year, is a company that is viewed by companies, consultants, candidates, as a company that embraced the fight for diversity, that we are viewed as a company that is concerned about everyone, if we're viewed as a company that is inclusive, if we're viewed as a company that cares about the human condition, because at the end of the day, this is about the human condition. If we are viewed that way, and it could be, quite frankly, just having these types of forums and the ability to express that VACO is very interested in what is going on in the world and wanting to make a difference in the world. If our clients, our consultants, and our candidates view us as that company, that would be a great accomplishment. And it would be something that I am extremely proud to be a part of.
Thanks, Colette. Yeah. Neona, to you.
I think you guys all, Farah, Colette, and Levante, hit it right on the head. And, I'm really hoping that through this, the IDE initiatives here at VACO, we can really encourage others and encourage or empower people to find the courage to really step up and reach across the table, make a new friend, help bridge a gap. And also I think, my hope is that we will become really change agents throughout our communities and really just spread more love. That's my hope.
Thanks, Neona. I know, not the least.
No worries. I would like for everybody to continue the pause that we experienced with COVID, and to always have that pause before engaging in a conversation with another and moving right toward a business conversation, or moving right toward, a factual discussion, but just to pause and ask each other a question to learn more about the individual. And I think that's going to just enhance everybody's connection, enhance our global understanding, and help level set who we are as a people, to Colette's point, the human condition, because we have to continue that pause.
Great. Thanks so much, Aina. Yeah.
Hey, so Murad, I know you've been asking all the questions, but I'd like to ask a question, because people don't know this about you, but you worked with D&I initiatives for years, and I'm curious, given your past experience, what does it take for them to be successful? Like, what advice do you have for us?
Not an advice, but in my view, we need to take diversity and inclusion beyond race and gender. We also need to tap into potential of differently enabled people, as you pointed out earlier. And I've seen it successfully being implemented in so many organizations. And I think that's when we'll be truly successful. So it has to go beyond race and gender, right? We have to think beyond.
I love that.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, I think we're just coming to end of our time slot. So thank you so much. Thanks for Neona, Levante, Colette, Aina, and I'll be behind this camera working with for sharing VACO's key mantras and the ways we are drawing the circle wide for a more diverse and inclusive future here. Thanks everyone, and have a fantastic afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks.